So I saw your name pop up in the producer role, obviously, before the movie. I was just wondering what it was then about this particular story and this whole project that just appealed to you so much you wanted to get really heavily invested in it.
Well, it's the thing that movies like this are very difficult to get made, where it's a very twisted sense of humour, a lead character who's very remorseless and you don't ever really get a comeuppance to. So there's it's a risky film to make in some ways, and I think that's why to be involved from quite an early stage in terms of getting it made. I mean, Gregor Cameron, the producer, has been working on this film for 7 years, I think it is now. He's had the rights to the book, and then working with John, developing the screenplay, and then finding Owen Harris to direct. So it takes a long time and a lot of hard work from everyone, but they're a great bunch and people that I just enjoyed being around and working with.
And now Stefan isn't the nicest of blokes, but when you're playing a character like him, do you have to try and like them, try and find sympathy with them in order to get into their head and kind of embody them?
Yeah, always. No matter who you're playing, there has to be an understanding. You can't just approach it as, oh, this is a bad guy I'm playing. I'm gonna be bad, because in that person's brain, they're not. They don't see themselves as a bad person. They see themselves as them, and then you have to kind of get an understanding of why they do the things they do. And with Stephen, it's kind of it was kind of relish that prospect, but particularly having the book to work from, because he's got this great inner monologue and kind of front in terms of life, but this inner dialogue which is just destroying people in a quite an eloquent, nasty way, and that's very amusing to me.
And when you're playing such a sort of mean bastard, are you able to switch off straight after a scene? If you've been, say you're with James Corden, you're treating him in not the nicest of ways, and then straight after, they shout cut, are you instantly able to just have a laugh with him and have a joke, or does it take a while to kind of get out of that character that you've kind of got into the headspace of?
No, I'm pretty good at being able to differentiate. I think it would have been a nightmare for everyone on set if I didn't.
Just walking around going...
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I was wondering as well, I mean, a lot of this film centres around the idea of looking for the next big hit. I was wondering, when was the last time you heard something new for the first time that you really loved?
Certainly the whole of the Jamie XX album. You know what song? I remember I was around my mate's house and that Tove Lo Habits Stay High remix came on, and I remember everyone in the room kind of going, "Oh, it's a good tune." And that was a good moment, and it's very rare that I'm ahead of the curve in terms of what's going to be popular. And that was one time where we heard it, and it was like, I don't know, 6 months before it came out or something. And then when it came out, I was like, oh yeah, I know that tune. It's a good one.
It's a good feeling when that happens. Yeah. And there were obviously shades of Patrick Bateman to this character. I was wondering, I mean, because that's something that's been spoken about ever since the book sort of came out, that this character's got similarities.
Yep.
Did you then use him as an influence, or was it almost too easy to use him because people were already sort of saying that they're quite similar?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm a fan of that film and book and that character in general. And there are definitely similarities, and obviously whenever you do a film that's centered around a character who has psychotic tendencies, then those similarities will be commented upon, and even things like Filth as well, which are all films that I'm fans of and people did brilliant performances in. At the same time, you kind of have to take your own approach to it and just focus on the source material and what's driving this character, because I think Stelfox has a very different. He's surviving in a different world to those guys.
Of course, so X-Men Apocalypse has been completed, I believe. What can fans expect of the franchise from this next outing? Is it too early to tell at this stage how this may rank alongside sort of the other X-Men films?
I mean, it's always tricky, when you're making any film, you're in such a little bubble that it's very difficult to have an outside perspective on what's going on. But at the same time, the vibe on set was brilliant, and Simon Kinberg did a phenomenal job with the script and introducing younger versions of characters that we've seen before in the franchise, but younger versions, and having a bit of their backstory told, and then also just making it kind of huge in some ways, where there's elements of the script where I'm like, I think the last third of the film, it's going to be for me like watching as a viewer, because it suddenly kicks off and blows up. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, sounds pretty good. Thank you so much for your time today.
Brother. Thank you.
Cheers, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.